In this video we will be looking at the file gitignore and figuring out what useful things it can offer a developer working with Git. Actually, the gitignore file is a relatively simple instrument which allows us to filter out the things that Git will be mentioning based on the presence of the changes. If we have a very large number of files and we want Git to display the changes only in specific files and not in others, we can use gitignore. Let me show you an example of how it works. To use gitignore, we need to create a file with that name. It should start with a full stop because it should be a hidden file, and it should be called .gitignore. It's actually a simple text file. We open it in Notepad and now we can add content in it. So what are the options? What kind of syntax does gitignore have? Actually, the syntax is fairly simple. It looks like file masks and it lets us use so-called wildcards, which are some universal acronyms. If we want to filter out some file based on a specific extension, let's say all log files or all JPEGs, we can use an asterisk as a file name, which means any action and .log. Any name, any file that has any name in the extension .log will be hidden. If we want to reverse the changes, if we want to do the opposite, we will use an exclamation point. We can hide all .log files, but open just one error log file. Similarly, we can open whole directories. This means we need to start with a slash, and we can hide all files in the directory ending with a slash. We can also do some intermediate wildcards. Let's take a look at a simple option. We created a gitignore and now I want to get rid of a log file. Let's create a log file. Here we have a log file and we add some content to it. Okay, open Git bash and see what Git will tell us. Git says that there are two files that are pretty much new to it, which are gitignore, which we just created, and the .log file. How to make it so that the .log file is not displayed here at all? Meaning, how do we forget about it? We open gitignore and now we define that the .log must become invisible, so that Git would not tell us anything about it. And we call the Git status yet again. Poof, it disappeared. In the untracked files, Git doesn't even offer the .log file to us. Let's open the Git GUI. The file is not here either. What do we need this for? There are very many files that should not be committed. As a rule, there are binary files or files that don't necessarily bear any meaning to the source code of the project. Logs, screenshots, files containing custom user settings and so on. We'll learn more about that when we figure out the programming. But currently we can hide any content of any file or any directory. Gitignore is a very simple tool that allows us to create a mask and forget some file or some type of file forever. This means that if we want to hide several log files, we can create a mask like this. Let's create one more file. Now we've got one more log file. Let's go back to the Git GUI. The Git GUI shows these files to us. That way we can hide unnecessary files and save ourselves from accidental commits. If we can't see this file, we won't be able to edit to commit. If we can edit to commit, this will take the committing procedure much safer and we won't be tempted to somehow commit this file by accident.